culture. Pop, 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 pop goes the culture.
Good evening, or good morning, as it would appear to be. Anyway, I've got a series of Nailsin rating stories. The WBD bidding war may have just ended. We'll see. Sorry for being a little late. I thought Rumble was out, and I was trying to figure that out. But apparently, the Brave, browser, what have you, I don't know, couldn't connect to Rumble, so I jumped on over here on Chrome. So I guess maybe they're being attacked. I don't know. But anyway, that's the deal there. So mostly that WBD, some Supergirl stuff, Snyderverse stuff here and there, the Batman Part 2, and all that. So these are, yes, once again, pre-prepared just in case the voice goes out, which it does here lately. It's very disturbing. I cherish this voice. What do I do without it? Well, I could draw pictures, I guess, until I'm completely blind. Then I got nothing, Sad. There's a couple that didn't make the cut, but once I get to them and finish them up, the only one that's finished is the first one I'm going to do, which will actually be my video for later in this morning for Friday. And then the rest, I dripped them out over the weekend while I'm busy being unconscious or at work, sometimes both. And that's how that'll go. The final two, there's one about the Merlin show for the Daily Wire. I talked about that. And then one about a Daisy Ridley movie. It's a horror movie that's coming out. So I talked about that one. No, it's not a Star Wars movie. But anyway, so that's the deal. But for tonight, it's all mostly, WBD, DC stuff. And that's it. There was a couple of things here and there about Marvel. I did hear this business about maybe I'll touch on that too, but they're going to do multiple trailers within the Avatar movie. But it means you have to keep watching the Avatar movie each week to see all the trailers that have different scenes in them. And they all connect to a full on. I don't think people are going to like that. It's one of the, the damning things about the MCU was all the homework that you had to do. And now, hey, let's give them more homework. You have to go and watch this Avatar movie over and over again just to see the trailers. I don't know about that. I'm not doing it because I can't stand Avatar. I didn't like the first movie, never bothered with the second one. Odds are I won't like this one either. So I just won't go see it. Simple as that. But anyway, not this, oh my God, I've got to see these trailers. No. The excitement for MCU died out some time ago. Can they make a comeback? I'm dubious, but, So that's the deal. I will do these. I will do some drawings in between. I'm thinking I'll take another shot at drawing Supergirl, I guess. Perhaps Scarlett Johansson. Yes, there's a Scarlett Johansson story in all this. And, that should make for an okay show. Maybe. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the breaking news on the WBD bidding war. Oh, boy, it's a biggie. Whoops. Uh-oh. Well, what have we here? Netflix wins bidding war for WBD, enters exclusive deal talks. So, I I knew they had a strategy, and I thought it would take a little longer. But, well, how about this? A major shift in Hollywood is underway as Netflix has reportedly won the bidding war for Warner Bros. Discovery and entered exclusive talks to finalize the deal. The trades report Netflix hit the price WBD wanted, beating out Paramount and Comcast after a volatile day of counteroffers and back-channel maneuvering. It should be said the deal is far from completed as Netflix and WBD still have to finish the talks. It's also been reported that Netflix will face years of regulatory scrutiny. Deadline reports that Netflix offered $28 a share for Warner Bros. Discovery Studio and HBO Max assets. The wrap adds Netflix hit the magic $30 a share figure that sealed the exclusive window. So, why the difference? Because the $30 would make it because that's what Zaslav was asking for. Now, they keep talking about the, oh, damn it, I'm already forgetting that what was it, $24 that Paramount had offered? But I thought they had raised that to $27.50. And Zaslav still rejected it. He wanted a bidding war to see if he could jack up that price. But, as things are going, the one who gets closest to it first, maybe it is the 28 figure. But if it's the $30 a share, then that's that. They're in. So, Paramount was going to buy the whole shebang. Here, Netflix, of course, was only interested in Warner Brothers and, HBO Max. So even though the actual split of the company was to take place next year, even with the negotiations of the sale, they said, yeah, that's still going to happen. And especially since they're only interested in these assets, not the, cable legacy media stuff. So anyway, both outlets confirmed Netflix included a massive $5 billion breakup fee, matching the protection Paramount added to its own bid. WBD put itself up for sale in October. Today's development marks the beginning of exclusive deal negotiations between Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery, a stage that shuts out all other bidders unless talks collapse. So that's that. Unless there's some breakup between the two in negotiations, Paramount and Comcast is game over. Paramount aggressively countered earlier in the day, arguing it was the only bidder with a clear path to closing. Its concerns centered on regulatory issues with Netflix and Comcast, which Paramount insisted regulators would reject, and that's still a possibility. But the higher Netflix offer appears to have outweighed those warnings. Paramount's separate push, including letters accusing WBD leadership of running a tainted process, wasn't enough to stop the outcome. Well, they probably didn't like that, but what if it's true, Comcast was also outbid and never emerged as a serious final contender. So, by moving into exclusive talks, Netflix is positioned to acquire Warner Brothers Studios, HBO Max, major IP, including Harry Potter and DC, all associated content libraries and production infrastructure. Netflix long compared itself to HBO when it began original programming. It now stands on the brink of owning HBO outright. If completed, the acquisition would massively reshape the entertainment industry and give Netflix unprecedented control over film, streaming, and legacy franchises. Well, the deal isn't simple. Netflix faces the toughest regulatory fight of all three bidders. Yeah, because you're the dominant streaming service now gobbling up the third streaming service as far as the ranking goes. Whereas Paramount Plus wasn't in that league, so they had some wiggle room there as far as acquiring a streaming service. And very few hurdles, plus the good relationship with Trump, was going to give them an edge, but, well, couldn't cough up the money, I guess. So the DOJ antitrust scrutiny is expected. Oh, yes. Representative Darrell Issa has already warned the merger would harm competition. California AG Rob Bonta previously opposed WBD-related consolidation. Netflix's entry into traditional theatrical distribution is another wild card. Well, if they would just do it, they should have already been doing that. I mean, you're buying one of the oldest and probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, of the, classic Hollywood titans in film. And now you're just going to take the IP, scrap it. Really, Warner Brothers ceases to exist after this, no matter where it ends up. And it's just I guess maybe there'll be an HBO tab on Netflix, Jeez Louise. But yeah, and just recently they released this Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein movie. Now that thing was a visual feast to behold. It's meant to be seen on the big screen, and they did release it in some theaters very selectively and very briefly, and then bam, it's on Netflix. They just haven't made a serious push to be a production studio to put movies in theaters. And it's astounding that they would do that. I mean, really, when you have a film like that, to that level of production and cost, and you don't take the full advantage of it, you could have its theatrical run, and then it's exclusively on Netflix. But no, streaming comes first. So what becomes of the Warner Brothers catalog and the IP that they have? They're all just going to be Netflix shows and movies. It's really the worst outcome. Plus, there's the huge leftist influence over at Netflix. Probably more than the other two. Well, easily now that Paramount's really changing. Well, it's Skydance, not Paramount anymore, but you get the deal. Yeah, this isn't good. This really isn't. I mean, it was bad all around. This is the third time that Warner Brothers has had to sell itself. First AT&T, then Discovery, now. So investor concerns are already visible with Netflix stock dipping 5% after reports of real deal momentum. A chaotic final round. The third round of bidding turned ugly. Paramount accused WBD of abandoning a fair process. Paramount warned Netflix's offer wouldn't survive regulators. 2 Paramount letters leaked, signaling the company saw the writing on the wall. Paramount had previously tried to shut down rivals with an early $19 a share bid. Oh, so that was initially their first one, was that? So Paramount could still attempt a hostile takeover pitch to shareholders. Only 20% of long-term WBD shareholders are needed to call a special meeting. Still, as of now, Netflix holds the exclusive negotiating position, the closest any bidder has come to actually acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery. So this is an interesting wrinkle here, saying there's some shenanigans here. This is going to increase the already bad position Netflix would be in when it comes to antitrust regulation, scrutiny, and all that, which also garners up probably the hostile takeover pitch that they could pursue. And they can lay out their argument that the shareholders are like, we're better off with Paramount, and they could still beat out Netflix that way. but maybe not. So yeah, there's still hurdles, but ultimately, right now, it's just up to Zaslav and Netflix and whatever deal they agree to. And if Zaslav likes it, takes it to the board, they agree, it's done. Not yet, because then the government comes in. So then they're stalled for a long time. But as they move forward, especially with Warner Brothers going to split itself into two companies anyway, they can still go ahead and do that, which fits right into what Netflix wants. So you can have that. So probably the worst of the three for this to acquire, the IP and all that. I know the Snyderverse stuff because Snyder had a home at Netflix. It doesn't look like he has that anymore. I mean, what he did for them didn't do very well. And Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead, those are terrible movies. And his Twilight of the Gods, which I didn't even know there was talk of a second season of that, but apparently there was. Well, that got scrapped. Now, Twilight of the Gods, of the three projects he did, was probably the best one. So now he's doing this UFC movie with Saudi money and all that. He's doing other stuff. I don't know if Last Photograph is a Netflix deal. The film I think has finished shooting. But it seems like that's on the out. So the whole thing about sell Snyderverse to Netflix, well, they're probably going to do their own DC. And with the leftist mindset over there, oh, jeez. At that point, your best bet is they stick with James Gunn, I guess. I don't know. So, and then ultimately all this was this hoopla about Snyder teasing, DCEU imagery and stuff from his films. It's just they're going to go ahead with him directing a Dark Knight Returns film. And that could be all there is to it. I don't know. But that's the DC stuff. It's not over, but it's damn close to being over. Okay, there you have it. Well, already things are changing. So, yes, it's not totally a done deal. They still have the government hurdles and all that, and Paramount could still jump in with a hostile takeover. So, let's take a look at some of these stories. Well, it's not up there. Let me get this. Wasn't really planning on this, but once again, Matt McCloyne over at Cosmic Book News curates everything so nicely, does the heavy lifting, so I don't have to. And there we have it. You got to add it to the scene. There we go. All right. Of course, the government has a say-so in all this, So don't count Paramount out of a WBD just yet. Will the trump card be played? Sure, why not? Netflix may have won the bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery, did they? But the deal is far from guaranteed, so they didn't really win it. They're just very close. Exclusive talks don't mean the deal will be finalized. Yeah, it just means they're talking. They can always collapse. Oh, yes, yeah. The talk also don't equal regulatory approval, and there are already major signs. Netflix faces a long, difficult path. Reportedly, years to come. Paramount, despite losing this round, shouldn't be counted out, and Netflix doesn't have President Trump at its side. Reports note that Netflix WBD merger could face years. Okay, you're repeating the same thing. This would be one of the largest entertainment acquisitions ever attempted. Netflix absorbing Warner Brothers Studios, HBO Max, DC, and major IP libraries raises immediate red flags for regulators who have already taken a harder stance on media consolidation. Well, yeah, but boy, the woke era really did a massive, a hydrogen bomb attack on just about everything, but certainly the entertainment world. Variety previously revealed that top filmmakers sent a private letter to Congress urging them to block any Netflix WBD merger. They're warning the deal would give Netflix disproportionate control over theatrical releases and limit industry opportunities. Yeah. You know, the Warner Brothers catalog and all that, and the IP would take a massive chunk out of opportunities for the theaters unless Netflix says, yeah, we're going to open them in theaters, which I don't know. Why not? No, we're going to stay our exclusive thing. Okay, but whatever. But that's the number one fear here. And, of course, they're getting close to monopolizing a lot of material here. Hollywood itself is pushing back. Yeah, they push back a lot, don't they? Which adds pressure lawmakers may pay close attention to. The Department of Justice is likely to be the biggest obstacle. The DOJ is expected to scrutinize the deal aggressively. Combining Netflix with Warner Brothers creates a dominant force in content production and distribution. Prior, smaller mergers have already been challenged under the current enforcement environment. Simply put, Netflix enters a regulatory battlefield. And after all, love is a battlefield, isn't it? So, once again, Daryl Issa saying, hey, this ain't right. And then California Attorney General, I don't like it either. So, it's a problem. Plus, Trump favors Paramount. Now, that's like, are you putting your thumb on the scale? Sure. You know, he can favor one over the other. But if you don't have a solid antitrust case, well, then that's not really right or fair. That's not fair at all. So anyway, Trump has backed Paramount Skydance efforts, and that makes him the wild card in this. Paramount has already navigated antitrust approval during the Skydance merger. Paramount argues it can close a deal cleanly and faster than Netflix. That's right, because their streaming service is not the dominant streaming service. But Netflix is. I mean, if you ignore YouTube. But as far as just, a flat-out streaming platform, the likes of which Netflix is, it's easily king of the mountain. And meanwhile, HBO Max is number 3 in the pecking order with, for whatever reason, Disney is number 2. Yes, it is number 2 indeed. If regulators stall or reject Netflix, Paramount becomes the most viable alternative. Update. The New York Post reports David Ellison traveled to Washington, D.C. to lobby Trump officials and lawmakers against a Netflix WBD merger, arguing it should be blocked on antitrust grounds. Ellison's team, led by former DOJ antitrust chief Makan Delarahim, maybe, I don't know, warned Netflix's proposal creates a dominant streaming force with 400 million combined subscribers. That sounds like a lot. The Post also says WBD CEO David Zaslav is warming to Netflix's bid. I'm guessing they did make the $30 a share thing. There was some discrepancy. Could it have been 28? Probably flat out 30, maybe even a little more. I don't know. Anyway, bid may be willing to fight the Trump administration in court. Okay, but there's more cost, and how long you got to drag this out? Anyway, prompting Paramount Skydance to escalate its push and send multiple letters urging the WBD board to reject Netflix due to regulatory risk. Netflix has brought in veteran telecom lawyer Steve Sunshine to argue that buying WBD wouldn't give the company monopoly power, pointing to rising competition from YouTube and social platforms. Yeah, well, you can always point to YouTube because they're bigger than everybody. There's your real monopoly. But it's different, isn't it? Yes, it's different. So I don't know because, all the criteria of Netflix is exactly like the others with HBO Max, Paramount Plus, all that. So that's really the playground they exist in. And so no, you're the big fat kid taking up all the goodies and all the merry-go-rounds and stuff. They don't ever get a chance to play. So anyway, Netflix may have won exclusive talks, but the road ahead is long with Hollywood opposition, DOJ scrutiny, congressional warnings, state-level pushback, and political advantages still favoring Paramount. The outcome isn't settled. Paramount is still very much alive in this fight. Numerous reports suggest Paramount may initiate a hostile takeover by taking its bid directly to WBD shareholders instead of David Zasloff and the board. Okay, Matt McCloin says his insiders go over what could happen if Netflix buys WBD. They also say a war is brewing in Hollywood to stop it. So there's multiple fronts here, the biggest being the government, and with Trump favoring Paramount, they've got a powerful ally. And, well, what do you do then? But on top of that, the rest of Hollywood doesn't want them either. So, that, well, that could be a problem, couldn't it, going forward? But nevertheless, well, there's that story. Oh, there are others. Oh, yes. I just, I got to go get them and set this up and all that. Oh, jeez, it's embarrassing to have to do this right in front of God and everybody. All right, so the next one, I just don't want it to be repetitive. All right, the next article, it's all Matt McCline because, it's easier this way. This is the Hollywood response to this bizarre set of circumstances. Oh, you got to have it in there. No, wait, you're in this one. There you go. There you go. See? No, not that one. No. Come back here. Turn off window. The one with Trump's picture on it. That should be easy to see. That's not that hard. Why do you make life so hard for you and anybody who happened to come here and watch this, That's kind of important. There we go. There it is. All right. Hollywood braces for wall as insiders say Trump could stop, quote unquote, Netflix WBD deal. Netflix may have won. Yeah, okay. The buzz inside Hollywood is that powerful creatives are preparing to push back hard. And the Trump administration may end up being the unexpected force that shuts the entire thing down. Now that's hilarious. All those whiny lefties in Hollywood. And Trump is the only one who can save you. Hey, come on. You got to love the irony. Anyway, my insiders, that's Matt McCloin, not me, describe a wild scenario happening among industry and veterans who don't want Netflix taking over Warner Bros. Discovery. The sentiment is widespread. The fear? Netflix eliminates theatrical value, downsizes the studio. That's that's a guarantee no matter where this goes. And shrinks the brands. According to the insiders, the belief circulating is that Hollywood figures might openly back the Trump administration to block the merger. A-list filmmakers anonymously have already urged Congress to oppose Netflix buying WBD. And the Directors Guild, led by Christopher Nolan, has already responded. The insider says, "This is just the beginning. No one in Hollywood wants it, and Trump may be a hero for stopping the merger." The internal mood right now is one of anxiousness, volatility, and they're all ready for a fight. Regarding the Snyderverse, the insiders add that Zack Snyder is uniquely positioned in all this, pointing to Joe Manganiello hashtagging sell to Netflix as proof Snyder's camp sees opportunity. Netflix needs content. They aren't tied to theatrical windows and would pour money into Snyder finishing his story or even funding a Dark Knight Returns adaptation. There's also another wild scenario my insiders went over. If DC opens up character licensing outside the studio system, Netflix could support a Russo brothers Zack Snyder DC versus Marvel crossover, something traditional studios would scoff at. Whoa. Inside DC, the insiders say there's real concern about what Netflix ownership means. Netflix has no interest in maintaining a publishing division. Well, that's it for the comic books. DC Comics would be shrunk or stripped to IP management. The studio would shift toward one-off films and Netflix-style franchises. Other studios would license DC characters if Netflix embraces an open model. That creates chaos, but also opportunity for filmmakers like Snyder. Netflix is lean. Insiders say there are no heads of divisions, only subordinates reporting into one central structure. Dan Lin and his lieutenants call all the shots. Insiders say Netflix would want Mike DeLuca and Pam Abney running WB Films. All film and TV fully consolidated. No meaningful power center for DC, which means limited authority for James Gunn and Peter Safran. One insider puts it bluntly, this would force Gunn and Safran out. In the insider's opinion, not sourced info, Gunn may choose to walk away. Gunn has an opportunity to bail, and the excuse that Netflix is too limiting. He pushed everything way too fast, but he may ride out his last year and bail with the Netflix excuse. Yeah, sure. The insiders stress that Warner Brothers Discovery employees and creatives are in uncharted waters. Nobody in the building right now actually knows what's going to happen, including Gunn. Well, yeah. Everyone is waiting to see whether regulators step in, whether Trump intervenes, and whether Hollywood's brewing black backlash can slow or derail Netflix's move. Right now, the only certainty is uncertainty and a looming industry fight. There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. Oh, okay. Well, there again, how good are the terms with Snyder and Netflix these days? I don't know. I would still lean more to Dark Knight Returns being ultimately the the outcome that they're looking for. But so anyway, Directors Guild, there is Nolan, who's very good friends with Zack Snyder, but interesting that especially if he's added to the concerns on this, that's another little wrinkle here, isn't it? Directors Guild of America, whose president happens to be Christopher Nolan, a big advocate of theatrical releases. Yeah, remember he quit Warner Brothers over Tenet. They did release it in theaters, but they immediately put it on HBO Max. It was during lockdowns and all that, but boy, he was really pissed. And anyway, he openly defied the streamer, has stepped into the Warner Brothers Discovery bidding story, saying it plans to meet with Netflix after the streamer entered exclusive talks to buy the company. The Guild says the deal raises significant concerns for directors and the wider creative force. After reports confirmed Netflix won the bidding war and is now negotiating a final agreement, the DGA released a statement warning the potential merger could reshape the industry in ways that affect competition and creative rights. The Guild says it believes the industry depends on real competition for talent. You know, after you sucked up to DEI all those years, no one really has any sympathy for you, even though your concerns are probably founded. But, yeah. Anyway, for talent and keeping multiple strong buyers in the marketplace. Because the Netflix WBD deal would concentrate streaming and studio power inside one company, the DGA wants a direct meeting to understand Netflix's plans and outline its concerns. You got to kiss our asses, right? I mean, you're gonna, aren't you? There's already rumors Netflix would reduce theatrical release. You mean releases, not released, to only 2 weeks, and then go straight to stream. Good Lord, that's devastation to the whole thing. Why don't you just not do it at all? Yeah, we'll tease you a little and make you hope for a second or two and then bring the hammer down. The Guild added that it will not comment further until that meeting takes place. We believe that a vibrant, competitive industry, one that fosters creativity and encourages genuine competition for talent, is essential for safeguarding the careers and creative rights of directors and their teams. We will be meeting with Netflix to outline our concerns and better understand their vision for the future of the company. While we undertake this due diligence, we will not be commenting further. Yeah, but get ready for the leaks and all that. But anyway, DGA is the first Hollywood union to formally react to Netflix's move. But it won't be alone. The Writers Guild of America East and West, that's both of them, previously warned they would oppose any merger that reduces competition, noting in October that a WBD Paramount deal would have harmed writers and consumers. See, they're just mad all around. Well, you shouldn't have gone woke and destroyed the industry, you know. This will be, again, the third sale of Warner Brothers property. With Netflix stepping forward, more unions are expected to speak out as the acquisition moves into exclusive talk. Yeah, the unions are worried about their power evaporating. It is. It's probably a done deal no matter who gets it. So anyway, Thursday's bidding was volatile and fast-moving. Paramount pushed aggressively to counter Netflix. But reports say Netflix offered around $28 to $30 a share. I'm guessing it's $30. Mostly in cash, winning the right to negotiate exclusively. WBD placed itself on the market in October after rejecting 3 bids from Paramount. All right, we already covered a lot of that. So there you go. Hollywood. It's like, excuse me, sir, but what about my butt cheeks? So there you go. That's how that works. What about the comics? Well, they're a streaming service. They did do a deal, but with Mark Millar. So there's interest in it, but only in the IP produced. So, you know, all his Miller World stuff and all that, which the comics that he did are way superior to the shows. Although, you know, the Jupiter's Legacy, yeah, it looked like it just cost too much money and not enough people tuned in. And I think the boys kind of saturated the idea of any superhero stuff that's outside of Marvel and DC, you know, catching on. And, you know, they went full, well, everything. And now the guy just openly says he just wants to preach woke stuff and all that. And it's over, so I don't know. But Jupiter's Legacy, really the follow-up series he did, which was like a prequel, that was a better comic book series than the main run. It was like Mad Men meets the Super Friends. It's cool. You know, but it's too bad it didn't work out. Anyway, now they're going to have all of DC. They're only interested in the property. So Batman, 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 and more Batman. So, they would do that. But as far as, at best, they would just license out the characters to be printed by, outsourced little companies that could do DC Comics if they so desire. They may not do any of it. As Netflix enters exclusive talks to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, a new concern is circulating among DC insiders. According to people close to the studio, there is growing fear that Netflix has no interest in maintaining a traditional publishing division. I'm pretty sure they don't. And that a major downsizing of DC Comics would follow. Now, what if they made Mark Millar in charge of DC Comics? Now, that would be a major plus out of all this. Because a lot of it's negative. But that one? Yeah. Our DC insiders say Netflix's business model doesn't rely on comic publishing at all. Nope, it doesn't. The company focuses on streaming. Yeah, and nothing else. Internal franchises and high-volume content production. That structure leaves little room for a full comic book division, and insiders worry DC Comics would be reduced to a small IP management group. The fear is that the long-running monthly publishing line becomes the first casualty of the merger. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, it's not as good as its glory days, but they're publishing better stories than Marvel. Marvel is nothing. It's not even worth toilet paper at this point, which is amazing considering it was the leader for decades, Anyway, on the studio side, the talk is that Netflix would shift away from long-term interconnected storytelling. Instead, the focus would move to one-off films, filmmaker-driven projects, and Netflix-centric franchises built for global streaming. Well, so that means no more shared universes, I guess. I mean, I suppose they could loosely connect them if they want to. But there's opportunity there to just, I've always thought they should just do direct adaptations of the classic DC stories, which might be more akin to what Zack Snyder's headed for, to do his long-desired Dark Knight Returns, which is all he really knows about DC anyway. And so he would do maybe it would be Cavill and Ben Affleck playing Superman and Batman in it. If the money's right, sure. And that sort of thing. And then the other, the collections of this, I don't know about the full-on death of Superman story and that kind of thing. But, there's a lot of it. He already did Watchmen. They would own that, which really the way he did it, it probably should have just been a series. Forget about the Damon Lindelof crap. Another thing that's not worth toilet paper. For fans hoping for a stable, connected cinematic universe, sources say that might not be Netflix's priority. No, I wouldn't think it would be. So, Snyderverse, you know what that is? A shared universe. Now, if Snyderverse just means Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 to make it a full package for all that, to add to the movies they would now own, yeah, maybe. But as far as the overall thing of what it was supposed to be, where the other characters got you got the Batman movie, you get Superman, Man of Steel 2, and that sort of thing, and then they come together for the Justice League film. Wonder Woman gets a better Wonder Woman movie instead of that god-awful Wonder Woman 84. And then, of course, The Flash, preferably recast, But anyway, the biggest shockwave inside DC is a scenario where Netflix allows other studios to license DC characters. That would break decades of precedent. Maybe even Disney. Heaven forbid. Insiders say Netflix may see more value in farming out characters than trying to run a full in-house blockbuster machine. Yep. They probably they were not going to license Batman. Maybe not Superman. But everything else, If this happened, studios across Hollywood would pitch their own Batman, Superman, or Justice League project, something that has never been possible under a single studio model. Yeah. Yeah. People inside the DC circle described the mood as uncertain and anxious. Netflix's lean structure and streaming first strategy could reshape DC from the ground up. The long-term concerns go beyond leadership changes or creative shakeups. The fear is a complete transformation of how DC operates and how its characters reach audiences. For now, these conversations remain internal, but they show how disruptive a Netflix takeover could be for the future of DC. So, there you go. I nigh. Oh no, DC, what happened? Well, same thing that happened everywhere else. And you lost your presence, your power, you pissed off your market with foolishness and shenanigans, and now you're dead. So, yeah, that's probably what they'll do. They'll gut a lot of it. They'll have unlimited access to the classics of Warner Brothers. So, you'll have that. And they'll do some films here and there with some of these properties. But ultimately... So, yeah, this is bad all around for whatever people hope that... well, maybe we'll get the Zack Snyder movie. Yeah, a couple. But as far as this full-on Marvel-style shared universe thing, that's about it. Yeah. So, yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, hope for the best, I don't know. Wow, that took up a lot of time. I had all these plans. It's going to play this. I guess I can still play the Supergirl video. I don't know if there's like old news in that. And then Zack Snyder, more about his Snyderverse possibilities. And then the Batman thing. I could do that. I guess I'll never get to the drawings. Damn it, late breaking news. It breaks everything. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Pell L saying, I just don't want them to woke it out into oblivion. Yeah, but it's Netflix, so odds are, yeah, that's exactly what they'll do. Werewolf of Sicily. Supposedly there's anti-woke movement in Hollywood, but it's just PR right now. We'll see over the course of 26 and 27 whether that's legit. They can't continue the way they are. Well, yeah, the ones that recognize that, sure. There are some that are in the position to just stay the course. And Netflix is one of those for the moment. Everybody saying hi to each other. Pella said, that would be cool, but they'll find a way to ruin it. I don't know. What, Dark Knight Returns, perhaps? Werewolf of Glorious. Werewolf says, fuck. Werewolf. I am, of course, a big DC and superhero in general fan. Yeah, but these have been dark days. And just when some of the stories were getting good, it's probably all going to come crashing down. But they did a lot of damage to themselves. Decades-old characters are now gay. The same dumb things. And it's like, what are you doing? Well, me too, LOL, but MCU is good too. Love the X-Men. MCU, at least they got that 10-year run. I mean, and about that, I mean the movies. The comics, they haven't been good in a long time. But they had quite a few very dominant decades. But I guess it's over. Werewolves says, oh yeah, but I have to separate my brain for discussion. This is DC time, so I have to put my blindfold and Billy Club aside and get Kryptonia. Werewolf, at least they're buying WB completely. I was afraid WB would sell off the DCU in pieces. Batman to Netflix, Superman to Hallmark, etc., and really fuck things up. Well, yeah, at least the IP entity is DC. So everything DC they will own, yes. That was a fear at one time, but out the outset, Netflix, they're not buying the company in its entirety. The company is going to be split. That was going to happen regardless of who won this bidding war. Now, if Paramount had won it, they said they would buy all of it. That means the cable legacy assets they have, which are horribly in debt and are dying. So they were going to split that. So Warner Brothers Discovery would be a separate entity. So it would be the Warner Brothers Studio, which has the IP and stuff, and HBO Max. And that would be a separate company. Whereas the rest of it was going to be called Discovery Global. And but Paramount apparently said, we'll take all of it. And but none of the others, Comcast didn't want all of it. I don't think they did. Because there was some concerns about them because they already own, MSNBC now, MS now, news articles. But if they bought all of it, they would have CNN and stuff like that. Whereas Netflix just said, yeah, we don't even want any of that. We just want the streaming service and the IP. So they get it all in one big caboodle. That doesn't mean they won't break it up themselves. Sounds like that's a possibility. Werewolf, I'm so happy to be wrong. Well, yeah. Can you imagine? That would destroy you. But it doesn't look good. It seems like, I guess, Paramount was the better deal. None of it's good because this is all evidence of failure over the decades. And really, they say this will be the third time it's sold. From the get-go, the Discovery deal was to sell it. So they got Zaslav to come in there and try to polish things up a bit and get it ready for the garage sale, and that's what he's done. Werewolf Sicily absolutely can. Green Hornet is great. His great-grandson or nephew of Lone Ranger and inspired him to fight crime. Now they're owned by different companies, so that piece of lore is gone. Yeah. So it would have been like that at times trillion. I'm really looking forward to Mark Millar's unauthorized Superman when he's got people working on it now for when Superman hits public domain in 28. Yeah. That's another thing. Now, granted, film and stuff, other iterations and media of Superman, Warner Brothers will still own that for quite a while. But the character and the original form of Superman, that's public domain in a short amount of time. Werewolf, oh, good. It looks possible DC will shut down instead. Yeah. Werewolf, Mark Millar would be fantastic running DC. He wrote Superman as bright and altruistic and optimistic best for years in the 90s. Yeah, he's easily the best writer in comics right now. There's a couple of others, but you're never really tired or bored with his comics. And that would be the one major positive if they did that. Now, I don't know what the relationship is as of now. They bought his IP, his books that he did. They have the first exclusives to any adaptations of his comics and that sort of thing. But he's in-house already. He might be the guy that they look to. Why don't you overlook this and turn it over? Probably to farm it out to whatever publishing entity that could take it, and what have you. And he would be the overseer of some sort. Netflix, I don't think, is going to buy a publishing company and all the equipment and stuff like that. You wouldn't need to. But with him in charge, and probably like he would write Superman and then and of course, just like Jeff Johns, I don't know what his relationship with him, he might come back into the fold there as well. But his Ghost Machine, he's already got deals for a movie version, I think, or maybe a series. I think it's a movie version for Red Coat and stuff like that. And that's the kind of, but both of them have been excellent and must pay very well for the absolute best in artists for these books. They look absolutely beautiful, and so that kind of quality and the care for it would be a good thing to do. Does Netflix give a shit enough? I don't know, but that would be a great team to take over the IP and make something out of that. You know, we shall see. Yes. All right, let me go ahead and play this Supergirl video, and I'll come back. Looks like Supergirl gets a brand new outfit for her own movie. It's not much of a brand new outfit. It's the same one, just slightly different. Anyway, let's take a look. So anyway, Warner Brothers has officially unveiled the first look at Supergirl at CCXP 25, including the full costume worn by Millie Alcock in the upcoming DC Studios film. So there you go. Yeah, that's seen those pictures of me. But this is it. This is it. I can't play the video because they have this Blondie song blaring on it. So you know the deal. But anyway, that's all you need to see. Most of it is pretty much very similar to what you saw at the end of the Superman movie, except the belt. See, the belt's very different. The belt well, not very different. There's some similarities. But it had this red trim on it. And I think there was even like a belt loop in it. And so it's a golden belt. And that's probably it. Huh. It is closer to the look that was featured in the actual comic book, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that the movie's based on. Where that one was, well, basically this gold kind of girdle thing. In the suit, and the rest, well, pretty basic. You got the blue shirt and the cape, of course, and the skirt, and there you go, Supergirl. So that's about it. They always do that, They went through the trouble of getting her suited up for the Superman movie, and maybe they just take the red part off. Maybe it was a loop thing. And think, just get that out of there, Maybe so. I don't know. Anyway, they showed a display of crypto. It was some, again, I can't play it till you get to it. It's just some sort of, statue of crypto. But anyway, apparently you could see alien creatures featured in the film, a station highlighting the David Cornsweet Superman symbol for Supergirl. Well, okay. And fan activities. Yeah, it sounds like they all had a great time. Well, whatevs. And they had a message from James Gunn. Well, he's just got to be involved in everything. So really, suddenly Supergirl's movie has become very, very pivotal in that this thing's going to really have to, it's going to have to do better than Superman. And what are the odds? I don't know. They do have Jason Momoa as Lobo in it. Maybe that'll be a draw, and that'll get more interest in the DCU, because I don't like saying it. I wanted Superman to succeed. I think David Cornsweet can be a great Superman, but that movie just stumbled in so many ways, only to be followed up by that crappy Peacemaker season 2. Good Lord. So now you've got, bratty, drunken Supergirl to follow up with it. And it looks like they're leaning into that. That's really only at the beginning of the story. She's depressed about her 21st birthday, and she watched her whole city get destroyed and all that sort of thing. And she goes off to this planet with a red sun so she can get drunk on it. The end of Superman indicates that she does this all the time because she just wants to get drunk, because she's a naughty girl and all this sort of thing. They're just going to lean in on comedic opportunities, which is the odd thing. They may actually make a Tom King comic book better in comparison to the movie. I was thinking it could be the opposite. You know, of all the Tom King titles, most of which I despise, the Supergirl comic is not that bad. It really isn't. Of course, he stole it top to bottom from the plot of True Grit, and maybe that's the reason why it's not so bad. But yeah, that's what they're gonna do with Supergirl. Hopefully, it'll all work out. But what's this about? Well, it seems Belgian actor Matthias Schoenaerts, Sean Ertz, I don't know, who stars in James Gunn's upcoming, well, James Gunn's not directing Supergirl, but anyway, Supergirl as the villain. Well, it seems he's been convicted in Belgium for driving without a valid license. Oh, jeez, Matthias, get your act together. The ruling adds yet another legal problem to the actor's record, raising questions about how this could impact Gunn's DCU rollout. Yeah, you really don't need this under any circumstances, but certainly not this one. So, according to VRT, not familiar, Schoenaerts was sentenced in absentia, not showing up. Oh dear, oh no, by the police court in Beringen. I'm sorry, I'm getting it all wrong. I know Belgium. Yeah. Anyway, 6 months imprisonment, $64,000 fine or pound. Yeah, see, I'm so blind. $4,000, $64,000. Good Lord, for a driver's license. £4,000 fine. A 1-year driving ban. He'll break that. Mandatory retaking of all driving exams and recovery tests. Despite the sentence, he won't be jailed immediately. Schoenaerts still has the option to appeal. So at least he wasn't drunk. You know, there's that. The conviction stems from 2 separate incidents, April 5th and April 21st, 2024, when police stopped him riding a motorbike without a valid license. See, you got to pay the racket if you want to, transport yourself. Schoenaerts had already been banned from driving in 2021 after a drug-related offense. And failed to complete the required retesting. Didn't want to piss in the cup, huh? This isn't an isolated problem. VRT reports Schoenaerts has 11 prior convictions in police court. See, even drunken Supergirl is like, whoa. But you knew he was a bad guy, See, there's the red part on the belt. See, it is an entirely different belt, but still, they decided, what's this? Get that out of there. Anyway, the ruling also does not cover his arrest last week when he was again stopped in Pelt, allegedly refused a breathalyzer test, and still wasn't carrying a valid license. Well, because he didn't have one. Officers described him as uncooperative. That incident is expected to result in a separate case. So even if he beats the rap on the first one, which he won't because he doesn't have a license. So, yeah, this isn't going to go well for Schoenaerts. Schoenaerts plays the villain in Supergirl, which Gunn is actively promoting, with the movie already dealing with tone concerns and fan skepticism. This kind of headline isn't the attention Warner Brothers wants, especially when the guy already had a record. You didn't vet this? I guess not. Anyway, Supergirl. So released, could land in that 6-month period time frame, meaning the film's major villain wouldn't be available to promote the movie. He's in jail. Oh man. So there you go. See, Craig Gillespie is the director. So everything depends on Jason Momoa at this part, but he's only got a brief cameo in the film. But there were rumors they did some reshoots to add more of his screen time for him as Lobo, He stars as Krim of the Yellow Hills. That's where all that drug-infested urine went. So anyway, well, boy, just when you didn't need any more bad news. Yeah, yeah. Well, good luck, Supergirl. Good luck. All right, maybe it'll be brilliant. See, I covered both sides. All right, so there you go for Supergirl. You know, she's got a new belt, but her bad guy has a drug problem, refuses to get a proper driver's license, or some crap like that. I don't know. Yeah, it's like, and they had all these priors, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. You didn't? No, I didn't. You know, you didn't look, did you? You know, and by now, you gotta wonder, you know, about a lot of your potential talent. They do tend to get in trouble a lot. They're all messed up, can't deal with the real world and stuff like that. I guess that's the price you pay for acting talent or something. I don't know. But that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. All right, so now I'll draw a picture of Supergirl. I don't know. Do I really need me on screen? I don't think so. Besides, just get in the way. I could shrink me down to the corner, but anyway, let's get to this. Make sure everything. Yeah, it's showing up all right. So let's see. I got some pictures here. Kind of go. There's an image of her from the Superman movie, stumbling around drunk. And I guess I'll put little crypto in there too. So that'll give us an idea of how this is all going to work out. And I get, oh, thunder thighs. I guess that's the deal. She's just going to be drunk through the whole movie, but in order to get drunk, she has to go to a planet with a red star, so she doesn't have any superpowers because the intoxication, it's intoxication, you know, it's poison and stuff. But when you're superpowered and virtually indestructible, well, then you can't be intoxicated, you know? Oops. That's why it's like, yeah, Superman can never get drunk. And, of course, Superman being Superman, he's never even going to try to. But Supergirl is a bad girl. Well, you know, she has her reasons, you know? She, you know, our whole family got destroyed right in front of her, so, you know. So I guess that's the deal. I forget how it was actually shaped there, but I think that's how they're going. Something like that for the belt. There's some designs. Let me zoom in on the picture I have here. Something like that. I don't know. He's just sort of stumbling around. I think you are. You're an asshole. I don't care. Probably the Lobo scene where it will be where she's drunk, but if she's really drunk, then yeah, that wouldn't really work either. Because, you know, Lobo's always super strong, but if she's got the red sunlight on her, she can't do a whole lot. So I don't know. That's kind of stupid because I thought, oh, because the girl basically hires Supergirl to hunt down the man who killed her daddy. No, the girl's name is not Cow Patty, but, you know, kind of the same plot. So anyway, and then my guess is Lobo would be one of the many ruffians that would be around. Let's see here. And then, I don't know, some dumb fight breaks out. But if Supergirl's going to fight him with no powers, that's not going to work. Unless, of course, she's still a badass, even without the powers. Yeah, that's just not going to work. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's what they're doing. And just like I said, in the actual story, oh yeah, I'm going to try to, I gotta actually stand kind of stupid and awkward. She's only drunk at the beginning, and then she gets hired by, oh, damn, I didn't push it that hard, by the girl. And jeez. And then off they go on their rollicking adventure through, space. And that's about it. Hey, do you think they catch up with the murderer? Maybe not, now that he's probably going to have to do some jail. Well, they've shot the movie, so whatever his scenes were shot, but, well, he's not going to be on the red carpet and stuff, because he's probably got to go sit in jail for a while, Dumbass. And he thinks, hey, there'll be other movies and stuff, right? No. I mean, it's a one and done deal. It's not like he's going to be a recurring villain in future Supergirl movies. None of that. So anyway, well, like I said, best of luck and all that. Hey, maybe it'll all work out. So, and then all this becomes meaningless in about a year. I mean, it's like James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow would be like the last movie. And then that's it for DCU. I mean, you got Matt Reeves' Batman. So there's that. Which, probably going forward, they'll just, depending on what it does, if it's successful and all that, let's just do the Batman movies. We'll just stick with that for a while. And then there you go. That's it. I mean, you got to understand, these things are expensive to do. And, they're going to be all, I wanted to make money off of this stuff, not spend it on it, Like, all right, well, we'll try to do that, maybe. All right, let's see here. Got a picture of Crypto to look like James Gunn's dog. But, I gotta have like a bottle of booze. That sort of thing, And then, here we go. Crypto. crapping out. No. His poo. There's his little cape. And all right. So plop, plop, plop. And there you have it. Supergirl and her super dog and her, bottle of booze. Yeah. That's pretty much what you get there. So, let me put the ink to it. There we go. Already, don't you? You can see the looks of heroism here for this, not even really a main cast member of the Superman story. I mean, it's Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen have more significance to the story than she does. It doesn't always have to be that way. You could make use of that, but odds are they won't. But here, the Alex Ross design. This little thing, whatever that's for, I don't know. But that's the design they gave them. And so on to, to differentiate the properties, as it were. There's her skirt. There we go. And we don't want to mess up Crypto's tail here. Very important. But anyway, so she apparently does this sort of thing all the time, as indicated by the Superman movie, because she shows up drunk while Superman's watching home movies and getting his sauna, and she comes to pick up the dog, and she stumbles into the Fortress of Solitude drunk. And so Superman explains, yeah, she goes to a planet, it's got a red sun, so she can get drunk. And then I guess the intoxication lasts while she's flying back to Earth, however many light years she's got to travel to get back to Earth, to pick up her dog, all that stuff. And so when the movie opens, I guess she'll be doing this again. Because, at first I thought, maybe they're suggesting that the events of the movie has already occurred. But no, it's just something she does. She just likes to go and get drunk from time to time. And, Superman's like, Yeah, I really wish she wouldn't do that, but no. I don't know that it's my place to tell her that. Not that she would listen. All that type of stuff. And it's like, giggle tee hee, isn't it funny? And, it's also just an easy way to differentiate her personality from his. Hey, let's just make her a little snot and a drunk. And you're like, okay. So there you go. That's the plan. Drunk Supergirl. But, hey, maybe it'll work. There you go. Supergirl and Superdog. Yeah. That's in your immediate future for DC on screen, I guess. Who the hell knows? Maybe it'll be a smashing success, and then that's a game changer too in its own way, and then they gotta, we were just gonna scrap all this, but yeah. And then maybe even the stupid Clayface movie becomes this smash hit. They're doing it on the cheap, so the potential of it actually turning a profit are pretty good. But beyond that, even higher. Well, good Lord. Won't that be something? Well, yes. Yes, it would be. Yeah. All right. I think we've had enough time for this to dry up a bit so that I can erase the pencils. Don't want to smear the dog poo. Oh, look at that. See? One got in. Damn it. Oh, the rage, the fury, the anger, the absolute disappointment. The absolute just defeat. Once again, at the hands of reality. I should have known. And yet the struggle continues. Here we go. Like that. I probably should have another finger there, I guess. There's that. Something like that. I don't know. What else? The leg disappeared there. Got to connect the arm and put the skirt there. All right. There we go. That appears to be Crypto's assessment of the whole ordeal. But here we go. Supergirl. Yeah. All right. I guess I'll go on to the next one, which should give a. Oh wait, no, I think this will be the other Zack Snyder video. I know it ends with Tig Notaro, but that's all I remember. Anyway, here we go. We'll take a look at this one. Hey, how you doing? Me? I'm just sitting here. Hey, let's check in on WBD and all that soap operatic shenanigans that's been going on with their bidding war, But all I really care about is DC. Yeah, let's see how that's going. Well, once again, here we are at Cosmic Book News. So, following the recent report from Puck News, that's with a P, Matt McCloy heard back from his insiders who suggest that James Gunn is already done at DC. That's a good possibility. Well, let's see. The insiders point to how Puck, again with a P, reported that Paramount executives went above Gunn and visited weapons director Zach Kreger in Prague, where he is filming his new Resident Evil movie, to talk about his DC pitch. Oh. Yeah, Weapons really was the film of the year. You know, it was just really cool. A Resident Evil remake? I mean, look, it's Zach Kreger, so I'll give it a shot. I mean, Weapons and Barbarian. This guy knows his way around a horror movie, you know. But what else can he do? You know. But Resident Evil, I mean, look, the original Resident Evil movies were a guilty pleasure of mine because I like Mila Jovovich, you know. She's pretty. But you know, another remake and everything. Well, we'll see. It is Zach Kreger. We'll see. So, out of respect for his recent work, maybe there's something to that. But a DC pit? Well. DeLuca and Abdi, not Gunn, are the ones who brought in Kreger. Well, I think they're the ones who greenlit Weapons, aren't they? Anyway, my insiders previously pointed out Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi as heads of WB Films are the ones who brought Zach Kreger into Warner Brothers. And boy, that really makes them shine forth, don't they? I mean, for a while there, it looked like they might have been in trouble, and then suddenly they bounced back because the movies that they greenlit were smash hits, not so much elsewhere. Yeah. So Weapons was huge, as was Minecraft, which DeLuca dated the sequel only 2 weeks after Gunn's Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, that's not a sign of confidence in a project. That means, let's say Man of Tomorrow is brilliant. I doubt it, but it might be. It's certain. Can it be worse than the Superman movie? It might be on par with it, possibly even better. But it only has 2 weeks. 2 weeks to prove itself. You know? And then it's going to have competition, of course, even at the outset. But now, from its own company. Because Minecraft did way better than Superman. And they're more confident in Minecraft than they are in Superman. Them's the breaks, you know. Both DeLuca and Abdi have had their contracts renewed. James Gunn's contract has not been renewed and expires next year. Just enough time for him to finish up Man of Tomorrow, which is beginning to look like that might be the final chapter of the DCU. It's not even out of diapers yet. But so McCloy's insiders also said that following Zack Snyder restoring the Snyderverse, DeLuca and Abdi would reboot DC, which is what they were going to do at the outset with this, you know. Recall that McCloy was told DeLuca's original plan for The Flash was to bring back the DC EU, bring back Ben Affleck as Batman, bring back Henry Cavill as Superman, and build toward a big Batman multiverse, with Michael Keaton also back as Batman. And yeah, Michael Keaton was in the Flash movie. He also shot scenes for Batgirl and Aquaman. But then they decided, hey, wait a minute, let's bring back Ben Affleck. So then Ben Affleck reshot those Aquaman scenes as his Bruce Wayne. Then they scrapped that too. Because Gunn was put in charge. And of course, Zaslav's orders was to go cheaper. So get rid of all that. This sounded more expensive, is my guess, as their approach, to not pursue that. So that's it. And this is what Ben Affleck is filming in the Flash movie to set up his multiverse Batman movie. And whatever they would have done there, did it necessarily mean Zack Snyder was to come back and do his Justice League movies? And then, by the time you get to Justice League 3, you're done. The whole DCEU story is pretty much over. Originally, they were supposed to have a Flash film follow that up. That was a time travel change, time warp thing, with the Reverse Flash revealed to have been the main villain all along. And then you have your reboot. You recast all the roles, and you start new and fresh, and go from there. Here, even if all this comes to pass, with Snyder coming back, it's probably only going to do the 2 films, and then quickly we'll wrap that up and move on. So anyway, McCloin says, recall that I was told DeLuca's original plan for the Flash. Oh, I already read that. Well, that all went away when James Gunn launched the DCU. Also recall how my insider, that's McCloin's insider, I don't have any, said Gunn isn't talent friendly and is stubborn about his vision. Well, so anyway, that appears to be exactly what is happening with Zach Kreger, who was supposed to pitch Gunn his DC film. Something clearly changed because Paramount traveled across the world to hear the pitch instead. And they haven't even closed the WBD deal yet. Are they looking at Kreger? Maybe not Zack Snyder, but Zach Kreger to be the creative lead on DC. Well, we don't know what his pitch was. Was it like a Justice League Dark type thing or Swamp Thing or one of those horror? Because he's known for 2 horror movies at this point, and he's currently doing Resident Evil. So is it something akin to that? I mean, look, at one time they were looking at Todd Phillips to take over just over the Joker movie, and he's like, fortunately, he turned it down. He's not the guy to run a superhero cinematic universe. So anyway, looks to be consolidation under DeLuca and Abdi. They'll be back in charge, more than likely. So Zach Kreger was brought in by Mike DeLuca. Well, you're quoting the insider. So, hey, look, it's Jim Lee with Zack Snyder. Anyway, with the WBD sell, Matt McCloin is told James Gunn is out. Zack Snyder is back with the Snyderverse. And eventually, under DeLuca and Pam, the new universe will be reborn or whatever, if it hasn't started already. Well, one wonders, are they actually going to go full multiverse? And even with Gunn perhaps involved in some project, but not the big boss anymore, unless he feels like he's been insulted and walks away. It's too bad, because probably one of the best movies Snyder ever did was his remake of Dawn of the Dead, which Gunn wrote. If you team them back up again on projects that's more attuned to their tastes, then you'd probably have some good movies out of the deal. So I don't know. Yeah, it's already underway. See, the sad thing about this is the people that didn't deserve to get screwed over. And I'm thinking of David Cornsweet. I mean, I'm a big Henry Cavill fan as Superman, and I'd be, yeah, if there's a good project for him to be Superman again, let's see it. But David Cornsweet could be a good Superman. He just didn't get the material that was worthy of it. So I don't know. Is he supposed to sit on the bench for a few years, like I guess Cavill did? And then come back as Superman after they wrap up Snyderverse? What do? They do Justice League 2 and 3 back to back and go with that? I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal. Or I don't know. It's such a mess, no matter how they do it. Otherwise, if they really think they have to satisfy the fandom of that to give them a send-off, which, strangely enough, if they had stayed with DeLuca's and Abdi's plan, they probably would already be close to be done with that by now. It's weird. So you got a couple of movies. I don't think he'd get Ben Affleck's Batman movie. Maybe. Would Henry Cavill get one more Superman movie? And I mean a solo Superman movie, not Justice League. And then you do the two Justice League films as well. In my thinking, that's what it would take to get him back after being jerked around and all that. I don't know. As the possibilities here. The obvious thing would be to scrap entirely and start over. Only this time really do it, not keep little straggler properties like Peacemaker and all that. you know. But they just did that. So no matter what they do, there's a lot of mess that puts more stumbling blocks than you would ordinarily need to get this underway. But at the weird state of affairs that things have been, I suppose all this is possible. Yeah, it's weird. Weird. But anyway, keeping to the plot points without the Batman gets Lois Lane pregnant, if Zack Snyder were to stay with that and just get those two films done, okay. His recent work doesn't give me much confidence. Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead were terrible. Twilight of the Gods was interesting, so there's that. But trying to completely rewrite the stories at this point, I think, good Lord, what crazy idea would he come up with? Other than that, not all that confident in the ability. Speaking of which, hey, look what else he's involved in. He wants to do a hot lesbian action movie with Tig Notaro. Huh. Zack Snyder is teaming with Tig Notaro on what he's calling a hot lesbian action movie. And yes, that's the actual pitch. Notaro revealed the project during an appearance on the On with Kara Swisher podcast, where she said the idea came straight out of the unexpected reaction to her role in Snyder's Army of the Dead. Notaro replaced Chris D'Elia, during reshoots for Army of the Dead, and the reaction blindsided her. She said she suddenly started going viral for being sexy in the movie and didn't know what to make of it. According to Notaro, she heard it from straight men, gay women, and straight women. So she called Snyder to tell him the odd news. That's when the new movie snapped into place. So it's a comedy, right? I mean, Notaro said she pitched Snyder with, what if we just went for it and everyone's a hot lesbian? Snyder didn't hesitate. He jumped on board immediately. The movie is currently titled Deviants, and Notaro describes it as taking place in old-timey days, centered on closeted women labeled as deviants. So it's going to be a 2-hour sermon. Yeah. See, the hot lesbian action title would be funnier, but she even joked about the future poster already being imagined with a giant subtitle reading hot lesbian action. The same line that sold Snyder during their Zoom call. Okay. The script is being developed now with Notaro writing and Snyder producing. It's still early, but the concept is already generating attention, especially with Snyder's fan base, always hungry for his next move. Yeah, I mean, Rebel Moon, Army, you thought that was great. Huh? Notaro, meanwhile, continues stacking projects. She voices a bear in Zootopia 2. Lesbians have bears too, which just dominated the box office. It did, yeah. And she'll return as Jet Reno in Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Why do you want to do that? I mean, here she's in a big time movie, you know. I guess it's too late. She already made the commitment, shot the scenes and all that. So you got to go back to that piece of crap. Anyway, Zach recently filmed The Last Photograph. Hopefully it'll be good. I don't know. And our insiders filled us in that Zach has plans to restore his Snyderverse once WBD is sold. Well, let's hope he has better ideas than Deviant. The thing about this, Tig Notaro's appearance in Army of the Dead is probably one of the more fascinating things about the production of the movie. I don't mean that she's really sexy in it. She isn't. But then again, whatever floats your boat. And, you know, you do you, and if that's what you're into, more power to you. But anyway, yeah, Chris D'Elia played the original pilot in this, you know, zombie movie heist type thing. And, but then, you know, he had his little scandal. And so they had to replace him. And so they get Tig Notaro to replace him. And it's seamless. It's seamless. They went in through the production of it and how they shot it and everything. She never even got to meet the other cast members. She had to do all the scenes, and there's several scenes of her interacting with the other characters and all that stuff. And it's absolutely seamless. It's pretty cool. The other production values of it is pretty cool too. Zack Snyder really figured out the volume filming and all that stuff. He's really good at that. In fact, Army of the Dead looks even better than Rebel Moon, which was odd because Rebel Moon is this sci-fi outer space thing. You think it would look, you know, more spectacular or whatnot. But really, Army of the Dead, being in a zombified Las Vegas and all that, it just looks really cool. It's a crap story and has a massive plot hole almost at the beginning. And so it's like, oh, geez, this is stupid. But the technical aspects of it is pretty interesting. Plus, after suffering through Star Trek Discovery, and her in there, it's not her fault, but she was just, I don't know, I guess she was friends with somebody involved in it and they gave her a job, but it's just pointless of her being there. She's a much better character in Army of the Dead. As stupid and bad as the story is, I say, well, you know, she kind of can act. Oh, well, maybe it was the good acting that turned some people on. This is the news to me that was the reaction to it. I thought the main thing is, wow, she's seamlessly put into the movie after the fact. It was really well done. It's too bad it's a crappy movie. But hot lesbian action. Yeah, I used to like those movies, you know, Cinemax would have them. And it was like Shannon Worry and Monique Parrott. I didn't really think of Tig, but I guess someone did. So they're going to go for that audience, you know. Well, best of luck. But anyway, Snyderverse returns. Will Tig Notaro be the new Flash? Well, stick around. There's more on the way. No, not more of my show or anything. I mean, more of WBD stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll make another. You can watch that one too. Now, stay tuned for these important messages. The important message was I needed a sip of coffee. There you go. You're all caught up. So, Tig Notaro, were you one of the people that went online and said, oh my God, I think I'm in love with Tig Notaro after seeing Army of the Dead? Well, apparently it happened. And I was just going to draw Tig Notaro in like a pinup image, you know, for a goof. But then I forgot that I'd made that point. If the Snyderverse returns, odds are, if they were to do that, it's still very unlikely. But nevertheless, let's say they do it. They got to recast the Flash because of Ezra Miller's scandals and stuff. So very much like what happened to Crystalia for Army of the Dead. Now you could put Tig Notaro as Barry Allen, the Flash, in the Snyderverse. So I'll just draw Tig as the Flash. So here, we'll just have this character is, you know, running. And there we go. And there you have it. Pretty much that. I can't even remember because I don't know, would they use the same old suit or the one they went for with his own movie? Yeah. I don't know. And well, for this scene, we'll just pretend like she forgot to get the helmet or something. Let's see. Do the little lightning bolts. This one there. All that good stuff. I will put her pilot sunglasses on there. Maybe that would help. Yeah. Let's see here. I do have a picture. And she's got her black and mild little cigarette thing. There you go. Tig Notaro is the Flash. They usually got all these dumb little designs that they always do for superhero movie costumes. It's always something. There you go. Get ready for the new and improved Snyderverse. Snyderverse, Snyderverse does everything in reverse. And here we go. There's got her here, and it would all be kind of flapping around and all that because she's running really fast. That's just what the Flash does, And is there to change time to help put back what once went wrong. Is the deal with the new and improved Snyderverse Flash. Because, hey, say what you want, but at least, she doesn't have the creepy, weird crap that Ezra was involved in. So, hey, it's a win-win. And maybe even go ahead and tie it into the Snyderverse with their hot lesbian action movie. Like The Flash comes out as a lesbian, travels back in time to the old-timey days to tell these closeted lesbians, hey, it's perfectly okay to go down. And then that's that. And then the Flash saves the day for, repressed closeted lesbians. And I don't know, the hot part, I guess, it's because it's like the DeLorean in Back to the Future. When she runs really fast, it leaves like fire streaks on the highway. And you see, that's the whole damn movie right there. Who knew? Forget about deviants and all that. It's The Flash. Hot lesbian action. So there you go. Tig Notaro. The Flash. Yeah? I mean, you come up with a better idea. But anyway, that way you can consolidate the production. You understand? You save money, you save time, all that, all at once. And there you go. You kind of, I guess, the proverbial kill two birds with one stone, And it's like, wow, that's really efficient and stuff. So, boy, you didn't see that coming, although by now you probably should. So, there you go. This too may come to pass. All right, let's hope I waited long enough for it to dry up so that I can take the pencil out without smearing the ink all over the place. There we go. I never did find out what TIG is short for. I really don't. I don't know. Oh no. Oh yeah, and the other thing would be that once Zach could go back into his new and improved Snyder cut, and that way superimpose Tig in all those scenes. So there's no Ezra anymore because, you don't want to be associated with that scandal and all that. So there you go, and it's just, Tig Notaro in all those Flash scenes. I don't know about, the Flash's own movie. I mean, why would anyone bother? But I suppose if they wanted to, they could put her in the dual role of the Flash playing his older and younger self, But instead of Ezra, it would be Tig, Just like Army of the Dead. So, it kind of just solves itself. And of course, both she and Snyder have experience with this sort of thing of replacing someone else with a role. And there you go. It would probably work out. Yeah. So, good luck. Good luck with that. All right. There's another story here. This is Scarlett Johansson will be in The Batman #2. That's right. That is right. There we go. Ta-da! So we'll head over to that story, and then I'll draw Scarlett with Batman. That'll be cool, huh? Yeah, I would think. And I do. Is Scarlett Johansson returning to superhero movies? You mean Marvel? No. DC. Holy bombshells away, Batman. I know, Robin. I can't take my eyes off of her. Anyway, Scarlett Johansson is in talks to join The Batman Part Number 2, according to a new report, which says the role is being kept quiet. Not quiet enough, huh? But the early word is she may play a new love interest for Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. Jeez. However, that may not be the whole story. So first thing you think, well, they've already cast Catwoman, so she's not doing that. But what about Vicky Vale? Yeah, that could be the deal. She could be Vicky Vale. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Following the initial report by Nexus Point News, Jeff Snyder backed the scoop on X and added a major wrinkle. Snyder says Johansson's character might start out connected to Bruce Wayne romantically, but will eventually be revealed as a villain. Snyder notes Johansson has spent the last decade playing the hero, and she's ready to break bad. Oh, yeah. Warner Brothers and Matt Reeves have also been looking to expand the Rogues Gallery in the sequel. So a twist like this fits the tone and approach of the first film. Update. The Hollywood Reporter confirms and says Johansson is in final negotiations. Really? What say? Really? What say you, ScarJo? Yeah. Yeah. Giggle, giggle, tee hee. Dear God, she's so beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, Johansson joining the Reeves universe would be a big addition. Yep. She's coming off years as Marvel's Black Widow and has been chasing more dramatic and darker projects. She was just announced for the new Exorcist movie. I mean, she did Jurassic Park movie and now another Exorcist movie. But, you know, she's got to make a living. Anyway, Reeves' grounded Gotham would give her the chance to play something sharper and more dangerous. There's no confirmation from WB or Johansson's camp yet, but the reporting is consistent. Talks are real, and the character will have a major impact on Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. Yeah, look, he's all sad. He's like, I loved you. And then his mascara's going to run, you know. The Batman Part Number 2 is currently in development as Reeves continues shaping his version of Gotham. Casting has been tight, and details remain controlled, but not well enough. Not only do you know she's seriously in talks to be in the film, we already know that she's a girlfriend who turns bad. That pretty much spoils a whole lot. Or is it just some cameo? He has a girlfriend at the beginning and then he catches her making out with some other dude. And she's like, oh, it's not what it looks like. And he's like, damn. And then he leaves. And that's it. Probably not, though. Anyway, if Johansson signs on, expect an official announcement to drop fast. Yeah, I guess so. They got to start filming pretty quick. So it'll be ready for October 1st. 2027. So there you go. So who could she play? Well, unless they're going to rewrite the Vicky Vale character where she becomes a villain. That's usually not happened. The only other girlfriend I can immediately think of that Bruce Wayne had was Talia al Ghul. You know, they had their version of her in Dark Knight Rises, but maybe this will be another crack at the character. And then she leaves with a pregnancy test that is positive, meaning she's carrying Damian Wayne in there, you know? Could be something like that. Or someone else, I don't know, Silver St. Clair, but she never became a villain. She did dump Bruce Wayne, but unless it's a totally new character. holy crap, what if she's Poison Ivy? But she hasn't become Poison Ivy yet. But she has this flirtation with Bruce Wayne. Or she is Poison Ivy. She's able to seduce. Well, then that's getting more into the fantastical, that she has these, pheromones and whatnot due to her experiments with vegetation. And she's able to seduce Bruce Wayne, trying to take him for all he's worth. And he figures it out, but he's still heartbroken. Sure, maybe it was the chemicals and everything, but in the end, I mean, look at her, for God's sakes. Of course he was in love. Maybe that's it. But I don't know what a grounded version of Poison Ivy would be. She's just some sort of eco-terrorist, but she's using her feminine wiles to seduce Bruce Wayne to, clean his coffers. Yeah, I suppose I could be the Till. Oh, well, that's the one thing they're able to keep under wraps for the moment. But looks like she's going to be in the movie, And it looks like Batman doesn't really have a problem with that. I don't blame him. Sure, it's going to end in heartbreak, but holy crap. Holy crap. It's worth it, isn't it? Yes, it would be worth it, wouldn't it? Well, all right. Final drawing for the night. Batman and ScarJo. And I guess I'll go with her being Poison Ivy. No, I don't think so. And plus, doing another superhero role and they have her dye her hair red again. I don't know. Or they just won't. I don't know. But unless they're going to have Vicky Vale turn bad or something like that. Who the hell knows? Well, we could always just wait and see and find out. But whatevs. And still, the talks could fall through. So, put Batman here just to have him in the position. Let's see. Whoa. I gotta admit, you're really hot. I don't know what to do. But, since basically all Matt Reeves is doing is trying to do his own version of Nolan's film, it should probably just be Talia al Ghul. I don't know. But there again, the Poison Ivy, I mean, not since, Uma Thurman played her in the crappy Batman and Robin movie. Really haven't done anything with her. And, I mean, different versions of her, they got her to where she can make plants come to life and tie people up in vines and stuff like that. It's like, holy crap, that's a little more. And if they're doing that, then they might as well just go ahead and say, okay, Robert Pattinson's the DCU. Batman, Superman exists in this world, and we'll just go from there. I'm quite surprised they didn't just do that, But, so far they swear up and down, no, and we thought about it, but we're not doing it. Okay, well, whatever. So, and at this point, they probably already decided there ain't gonna be no DCU. There might be a Batman franchise, but there won't be a DCU. So, what are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna make Batman movies. That's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good. Always, God, they always make the damn design so complicated for these movie outfits. Some crap like that. I don't know. All right, now we got to draw her. Let's see, she put her hand on him there. Okay. Just have to put in certain elements to have the position. Might have to redraw Batman's head here too to measure up. No. There we go. Batman ears, which on the Pattinson one are almost like needles. But now, all right. Yeah, we'll do the thing, and then we'll have some. I don't know, like vines and stuff. Let's see here. More vines. Something like that. Oh, shit. There we go. Like that. And this. There we are. His bat thing. Put her in. And she toys with him. Oh yeah, he has that thing on there. Jeez, a lot of crap on this bat suit, you know? It's like it's so much stuff. It's like, what are the odds he's gonna forget to put something, you know, on there and all that kind of thing. Oh shit! Forgot my knee pads. Oh. There we go. Nothing like that. It's always something like that. All right. Okay. I think that'll do it. Okay. Probably color that up a bit. In post, you understand. Meaning Photoshop coloring, you know. All right. And there we go. Maybe there will be a poison ivy. And maybe that's just the thing. She just poisons people, because it's supposed to still remain grounded, and not have fantastical creatures or people with superpowers and the like. In the Matt Reeves version of, you know, Batman. Werewolf of Sicily. Poison Ivy's got an April Imholt forehead there. Oh, yeah. Well, it's caricature, you understand. There's a certain amount of exaggeration. So, well, that'll do it. Over 2 hours. Snyderverse news. WBD looks like Netflix outpaced Paramount to take the lead, pretty much locking it in for the moment. If the regulatory issues should rear their ugly heads, that could spell problems for them. Paramount could take it to the shareholders and make it a hostile takeover. All this is still in play. So we'll see how that pans out. And Snyderverse returns. James Gunn out? Well, more than likely. Yeah. Or not. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes. But it didn't seem that impressive of a debut in order to say, hey, let's gamble some more money on this. That kind of thing. But, of course, the same could easily be said for a Snyderverse return. I don't know what metrics beyond that overall performance of his particular films did better than James Gunn's, one film. So I suppose you could go with that. The other aspect was the stories about Saudi money coming into play. And if you've got a massive sugar daddy to come in there and say, hey, I want this movie made and I'm paying for it, well, what the hell? Other than potential brand damage and stuff like that. But odds are something will happen. You'll get more DC movies and the like. So all you can do is stay tuned for fun stuff like that. Yeah. All right, no super tips. So I tried. I even drew pictures. I did everything I could. Oh, well, better luck next time. Let's see. What do I... Oh, yeah, I guess I can go ahead and take the Batman drawing out. I'll color it later. But got to take off. That's even longer than I anticipated. But, of course, the late-breaking news had changed the whole damn story. But still, I think that video holds up. And I'll put it out shortly on its own. But as indicated in it, it's not final, but damn close to it. And then the rest, what will the government do? Primarily, it just sounds like the government will drag it out longer. And if you're the shareholders, you might want to avoid that and go for someone that's easier, like Paramount, and do that. But other than that, they probably... Of course, I was always saying, it looks like Paramount's going to get it. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, this happens. So I was like, that's it. It looks like Netflix has got it. And then, I don't know, sometime tomorrow. Nope. Talks have already broken down. Could be. But anyway, thanks for watching. And we'll visit again soon, I'm sure, if not before. I did tape a new Sun King episode for the Mr Nailsin Show. That'll be out at Radio Misfits or wherever you get your podcast this Saturday. Then, of course, some of these films, after some amount of editing with little images put in the corner and stuff, I just like doing that, will be released later. And hopefully there'll be a Sunday Comics episode. I still haven't found a Christmas comic book story, but I'll find one. It's got to be public domain. There's no show, So that'll be Sunday morning. Yeah. And then we'll try to do this again next week, So anyway, again, thanks for watching and have a good rest of your morning, night, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's night. It's late. I will soon have to drift off to sleep because then I got to go to work tonight. But that's life, you know. All right, thanks for watching again for the millionth time, and we'll visit again soon. Thank you.
Hollywood could really wish they would. There's no debating. All that's left is the Nailsin reign. The flesh will feast from the corpse of the beast. Only after the feel of the vulture. Pop goes the culture. Pop, 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 pop goes the culture. Myths and legends, grants and escape to heaven. A darker, taller tale gives a tour of hell. Pop goes the culture. Pop goes the culture. Pop, 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 pop goes the culture.
As the song goes, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Turns out that was truer than most realize. People think Spider-Man shoots webs out of these devices on his wrists that he invented. This is true, but he also naturally shoots webs out of his ass. But webbing wasn't very practical, so he made the wrist things. However, sometimes, especially after a bout of diarrhea, Spider-Man ended up with his ass glued to the toilet seat. So when Dr. Octopus robs a bank or the Green Goblin bombs a hospital, people ask where the hell was Spider-Man? Turns out he was stuck on the potty.